Hey Art fans, Butch Hartman here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Alright, we're starting a brand new series today. It's called, drumroll, Cartoon Review. This should be an epic graphic right here. Nice. And there should be epic music playing and some thunderous applause. No, thunderous, thank you. Thunderous applause. Alright guys, cartoon review. What is it? Pretty easy. I'm going to review some cartoons. And whose cartoons am I going to review? Your cartoons. If you want me to review your cartoon, do me a favor. Send a link to askbutchhartman@gmail.com. There should be a graphic on the screen right here. Somewhere around here. Maybe it's... Anyway, it's here. So, askbutchhartman@gmail.com. Send me the link and I might review your cartoon here on my channel. To get things off to a great start, I thought it's not fair to review your cartoons before I review one of my cartoons. I'm going to review one of my very first cartoons ever made. It's the Fairly OddParents pilot episode, and it aired on Oh Yeah Cartoons in 1998. A lot of you probably haven't even seen the original pilot episode of the Fairly OddParents. We're going to watch it. I'm going to review it. I haven't seen it in a long time either. A lot of people think the first episode of the Fairly OddParents was called The Big Problem, and that was the very first episode of the Fairly OddParents series that aired as a series in March of 2001. This one is the very first original one that was ever made. So here we go. I'll watch it, I'll talk while I'm watching, and I'll do a little recap at the end. Alright, here we go. More thunderous applause! And that wasn't applause. Thank you. And by the way, when you're watching this episode, take yourself back to 1998. Look at this from a time traveler standpoint. You watch this cartoon in 1998 and you have to look at it with eyes like, is there potential in this cartoon? Could this cartoon be a mega series? Knowing what you know now. So whenever you're reviewing your own work or someone else's work, you have to look at it through the eyes of, does this have potential? Can this become a hit show? Without further ado, let's review. Okay, first of all, I'm a little nervous because watching this, I already know there's going to be a million mistakes that I never would make now because I've learned so much since then. But let's just take a look. There's the awesome title card. There's the classic house shot. Never changed. We did that same exact angle for so many years, and that's so cool. Here's the first shot of the Fairly OddParents. Timmy's dad talking to Vicky, and there's Timmy in the background there. And this is before the character designs had been refined to what they are now. Again, this is the first ever attempt at making this into a cartoon. You'll notice Dad has these blue pants on. If you look at Timmy's dad's pants now, they're dark blue, and I guess he would kind of have those shoes on. Vicky is, oh boy, the design is a little bit different, and there's all these tangents going on. Where Vicky's head is up in the corner here, there's all these lines intersecting. There's this light behind her. It's not good to do that when you do cartoons. You want to make sure that your lines and your characters are clearly staged so that you don't have a lot of mess going on with lines intersecting, and it becomes unclear for the audience. And there's Timmy back there. And this is way before I refined Timmy's design. And you can see real quick here on this drawing, Timmy's got ears on both sides of his head. From that angle you can see both of his ears, which is a no-no now. You don't draw Timmy Turner that way. And I was able to refine that, you know, work on that design over the years as the show went on. Let's continue. And that's Darren Norris doing the voice of Dad. He always stayed the voice of Dad.
He just loves making new friends. Don't you, Timmy?
No problem, Mr. Turner. I just love Timmy. We're gonna be best pals. Right, Timmy? Oxygen. Darkness. Have fun at the movies. Bye.
Dun dun dun. Shuts the door.
All right, Squirt. 3 things. 1, stay out of my way.
She calls him Squirt. Normally she calls him Twerp. So that changed. And just looking at these drawings, it's like I would never draw the characters this way. I would never let this animation get passed through. Watching this now, it's interesting because we did the Fairly OddParents animation back in the day on cells, the plastic celluloid that Walt Disney used. As Fairly OddParents went on and as technology got better and increased more, we ended up not using cells anymore. The characters were drawn on paper but then transferred directly into a computer, scanned in the computer, and then colored in the computer with Photoshop. And so that technology really started coming into play as I was making this, you know, episode. So we would never do the cartoon this way now. But it's just wild to watch because you see in hand-drawn cartoons there's all kinds of mistakes made and all kinds of, you know, uneven lines and things.
2, go to bed early. 3, do the dishes. Mom told you to do them. Oh, yeah. Well, you...
I think that Timmy Turner voice is the original voice of Mary Kay Bergman, who did Timmy Turner before Tara Strong. Mary Kay Bergman did Timmy's voice in about 6 short cartoons. And then Mary Kay Bergman sadly passed away and we had to get Tara Strong in. The play button, there we go.
Find this magazine, would ya? That's not mine. Mom will never believe you.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say that. It works great at my house. Just ask my little brother.
So Vicky's got a little brother. That's interesting. Again, this is the pilot. You introduce things in the pilot. You never know if they're going to last.
Okay, okay.
Interesting. Wow, the timing is so slow.
Hey, you ate all the pizza! Relax, Runt. I saved you a piece.
Horrifying fish. So Vicky's terrifying Timmy's life. Timmy's terrified in his bed.
Good, you're awake. Wouldn't want you to miss your bedtime. But I'm not tired. Oh, well,
I would never draw Timmy from that angle again.
we could watch your favorite television show, The World of Lip Gloss. It's on the Makeup Channel. That's your favorite show. Oh.
Can't tell if this is Tara or Mary Kay, because Mary Kay did the voice originally, then Tara took over Timmy and then did, I think, an imitation of Mary Kay at the beginning before she found her own version of Timmy Turner. You can see all the designs of the characters here. This is a very early version of what, you know, the show would eventually become. I don't know, it's like a kid walking for the first time. You're trying to learn all your steps before you really get it down. It's like tying your shoe for the first time or driving a car. You're just not that good at it until you do it a bunch. And so I'm just seeing the very raw elements of Fairly OddParents start to take shape here. Like there's things like Timmy's floating hat button, that never changed. The floating bedpost knob, which I absolutely love, that never changed. Timmy's bedroom design is basically the same. Colors are basically the same. But as we went on, we just really refined what these things look like. And, you know, hiring better designers, hiring more talented artists, more talented writers, things like that, really making it into the series it eventually became. Grab some Magic 9 Ball, that's the class.
When will my parents get back from the movies? Titanic! Director's cut!
That's funny, Titanic director's cut. This is a very dated cartoon because I think I had just seen Titanic when I started making Fairly OddParents. And Timmy pulling the fairies out of a Magic 9 Ball, they're about to appear here in a second. Don't want to give away any spoilers. I would have done this so much differently had I redone this pilot. I probably would have had Timmy go into a pet store after Vicky's mad at him. He would have gone to a pet store or something and then bought a pair of fish, and those would have been the fairies. I still like this, but I think the pet store thing might have worked pretty well. So anyway, and this is only a 7-minute episode of the Fairly OddParents. The first bunch of episodes of Fairly OddParents were only 7 minutes long, because at the time, the mandate on Fairly OddParents and all the Oh Yeah cartoons were the cartoon has to be 7 minutes. That's what Fred Seibert wanted. We have to have 7-minute cartoons because all the classic Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, all those cartoons, are 7 minutes long. Therefore, comedy and cartoons must be 7 minutes long. Fred was not happy with me when I decided to make Fairly OddParents 11 minutes long. We had 2 11-minute episodes per half hour. Doing 3 7-minute cartoons per half hour would have been a lot more hard work, because that's 3 stories. Doing 2 11 minutes, I only had to tell 2 stories, so that's why I changed it later on down the road. But these are creative things you do when you're working on a show.
They'll be there all night. Man, that's dumb.
Magic 9 Ball opens, magically, and out they come, and whammo. That's the first appearance of the Fairly OddParents right there. And what's interesting about that is I did all the timing for this episode. I timed all the animation for this. And I don't use animatics. An animatic is when you film the storyboard, put the dialogue to it, and actually watch the cartoon. It's only a storyboard. You're watching all the still drawings, but you're watching it kind of unfold before your eyes. You kind of time the animation to that. I never did that. I just timed the animation right out of my head, right onto an exposure sheet. So a lot of guys don't do that. That's what I did. So seeing all this animation finally come to life, it was pretty cool and pretty satisfying. So I really enjoyed that. So here we go, moving on.
I'm Cosmo.
I'm Wanda.
And we're...
Off they go, up they go.
Your fairy godparents!
There they are.
What do you think, Timmy?
I think I'm calling the cops.
Hold it, Tiger!
There it is, and we used that gag over and over again for the first couple of episodes. Every time they would appear, it'd be like a big Broadway show. That was kind of fun. Yeah, this scene required a lot of thinking, a lot of timing, because I had the title come out behind their head. The Klieg lights are going. Those are called Klieg lights. The spotlights are going, and the little stage. I'm Cosmo, I'm Wanda, we're your fairy godparents. And to be honest with you, at the time, I just wrote that line of dialogue. I never realized it would become like the catchphrase that they would say all the time. So don't ever sell your first idea short, because it just might be something cooler than you think it is.
You can't tell anyone about us.
If you do, we'll just go away forever.
Why?
Well, that's what the rule
I think
says.
this is Mary Kay. I'm almost positive this is Mary Kay Bergman. I think this is Mary Kay Bergman doing this voice. And it's blowing my mind because I haven't heard her do it for years because it's been Tara for so long. All right, now here's the first introduction of the rules where the fairies, what you can and can't do when you have fairies.
Sorry.
There's lots of rules, Timmy.
Why are you here?
We want to help you. We're magic. Ooh, magic. Ooh.
And notice the rule book is yellow, and now it's purple. It's been purple, I think, ever since the second episode, maybe third episode, but we changed it to purple just because it looked better. Let's move on.
What's going on in here? Nothing?
And the reason I gave the rule book to the fairies is because I realized I had these super powerful creatures that could do anything. They really could just do anything. And I was like, I've got to give them some kind of a kryptonite.
What's with the fish? Those are my godfish.
Now you hear,
Goldfish.
now Wanda's voice is pretty much the same. It stayed the same. Oh, we grant wishes. That's been the same for years. Now Darren's voice, Cosmo's down here right now. He's kind of a used car salesman. Hey, you want to buy this brand new 1967 Buick Skylark? It's only got 400,000 miles. And as the show went on, Cosmo's voice got higher and higher and higher until he was just a total moron. Again, that's because we had the luxury of developing the show over time, which is really, really cool. Not many shows get to have that much time on the air where we get to play with the characters that much.
Fish are riddled with germs. I wouldn't want you getting sick. Maybe I should
Oh, now there's the fish. First appearance of the fish.
Got to wish for it first.
Ooh, I hate that rule.
I'm calling a union meeting.
I want these disgusting creatures out of here, or it's toilet time for the two of them!
There you go, another introduction of the rules. I hate that rule. I'm calling a union meeting. There's a rule. Timmy's got to make a wish. He has to do the wishing.
Sweet girl.
I love her fangs.
You grant wishes.
And you can even see the fish as they float. They're floating kind of shaky because they're on cells. It's really pretty much the cameraman dragging the cell up and down as he takes one frame at a time.
Sure do.
And we love clients with creative imaginations.
Then I wish for one thing. Gelatin.
The whole floating thing, I want to explain that. Why do the Fairly OddParents float up and down like that? There was a show on years ago called The Flintstones. You all heard of The Flintstones. Fred Flintstone found an outer space friend. An outer space man came to visit the Flintstones because you had these cavemen, the Flintstones. And this space dude showed up. His name was the Great Gazoo. the Great Gazoo talked like this. Hello, dum-dum. And he called Fred Flintstone dum-dum. He was voiced by the great Harvey Korman. But Gazoo would be up here talking to Fred, and he would float like that. And I always remember that as a kid. I wanted some characters to float. That's why the Fairly OddParents float, because of the great Gazoo. All right, continuing.
You always were great with dessert.
Here come the wishes.
Whipped cream.
I always love that scene where Vicky comes out of the bathtub and the gelatin, just the struggle out of the bathtub. I always thought that was really well timed, if I do say so myself. And you can see the style of the Fairly OddParents backgrounds here. Just real graphic, real flat. Basically because at the time I couldn't draw backgrounds. So that was my version of making the background look as stylish or, you know, non-art-like as possible.
You always were great with dessert.
And that little moment there where Cosmo says, you always were great with dessert, I really wanted to show the godparents really loving each other and having a good time with each other. I wanted to create that sense of fun.
Can you make her into a giant chocolate shake?
Ooh, may I, Pookie?
Of course, Stallion. He said chocolate
Ooh.
shake, not chocolate
Stallion.
I gotta get this thing fixed.
Timmy, wish for something.
Okay, see, so here we're starting to see the Fairly OddParents not really do so well with their wishes, right? Their magic isn't as controllable as you might think, so we're kind of introducing the fact that, you know, Cosmo and Wanda really don't get the wishes right all the time.
It was a fly!
Chases Timmy.
Thank you.
Wish she was a fly. She's a fly. Fly swatter.
Frostbite.
Very cool. A Vicky fly, very cute.
Here's a wish list.
Frostbite. Two polar bears come out of the freezer.
I'm the babysitter.
Goo goo.
Ooh, it's kind of a challenge in a way when you're doing a pilot episode to introduce all the characters, all their motivations, what they're all about, get a sense of fun in there, and then wrap it all up and make it into a great story people want to watch. Watching this, I think this cartoon does all of that pretty well. There's a lot of things I would refine and I would change a little bit. I'd probably get into the magic faster. I would definitely time things faster. At the time, I thought this was some of the fastest timing I'd ever seen. Watching it now, it's like moving like molasses. And so that's just the way things move in entertainment. I'll watch movies from the 80s that I thought were really cool action movies. They're the slowest movies I've ever seen compared to the way the movies are timed and paced now. So watch some of your old stuff, see what you think of it. Maybe you can learn something from it. I'm definitely learning a lot from this. Continuing. Wanda sits on her.
Baby ever sat on the center?
Help!
Sorry, the secret word was pie.
Sorry, the secret word was pie. Now that's a reference to a Groucho Marx show. I put a few retro references in here, not only the look of the show, like a 1950s show, but some 1950s references. I thought it was fun at the time. I might not make those references today, but you never know. It still plays okay. Oh, there she goes. She runs into the whale's belly. Pulls out.
Sorry, is it my breath?
Yeah. Now she swims. Now she's in space. And I wanted to really, because I didn't know if I was going to get another shot at Fairly OddParents ever. I thought this might have been the only time I got to do this cartoon. So I thought, let's put as many cool, fun things in as we can. We had the gelatin, the whipped cream, the polar bear, the giant snake, the fly, the babysitter, the pie, Groucho Marx. She's inside the whale's belly. Now she's in outer space. That's about 9 super cool things in a 7-minute cartoon after setting everything up. It is a lot going on here, so it was a lot of fun. Now here's my first Star Wars reference right here. There it is.
I am your father. I've always wanted to say that.
I am your father. I've always wanted to say that. In the very first episode of Fairly OddParents, I've got a Star Wars reference, and you can see the Star Wars reference all the way through Fairly OddParents. That's how much Star Wars means to me. And they're dressed as Darth Vader in the little Darth Vader ships, too. That was a tricky scene to time right there. That worked out pretty well, though. Now she's inside a little hole. She goes up. Now that reference there, the hole there, where she's inside the hole, that's kind of a Bugs Bunny reference. She's inside of a hole, she goes up, she's in a human cannonball can in the circus, very nice. I really thought that was a cool camera move at the time, twisting out and pulling back. I thought, oh, I'm going to experiment with this. So I did the twist pull back. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Any last words?
Here comes the Cosmo train.
Woo woo, baby, woo woo.
Woo woo, baby, woo woo.
I'm sorry. Stop. I'll do anything. Anything.
Vicky?
Oh, nice. So Vicky freaks out. She says, stop, I'll do anything. And then everything dissolves back to normal. Was it a dream? Did this really happen? Timmy's parents are waking her up. All we see are Timmy's dad's hands. We only see his hand and his feet. We don't see any of the parents in this. I thought that'd be a really cool thing to do, not knowing that the series would take off, and eventually I'd have to show the parents. And I'm really glad I did show the parents, because Mom and Dad, Timmy's mom and dad, what are their names? My name is, and we never revealed their names, but I think Timmy's parents are some of the funniest characters ever, which is why I'm glad we eventually ended up designing them. So anyway, here we go.
Looks like you were having a bad dream. Maybe too much pizza?
Why don't we drive you home now? Sure.
That's Darren and
Really?
Suzanne.
Remember, you promised to hand wash all my laundry? After all, Mom, she did such a great job on the dishes.
Of course, dear. Laundry? Why, you little...
Sees the fish. There they are.
Laundry! Sure, I'll do your...
We're even establishing Vicky's passive aggressiveness. She's nice to the parents, but when they leave, she's super mean to Timmy. That's a really good setup for just a bunch of great stories, which is why I think Nickelodeon really responded to this pilot at the time.
Laundry? I don't know what's going on around here, but I'm gonna find out.
See ya, Vicky? Hey, Mom, Vicky's the best fun ever. Can she babysit all the time?
Of course, dear.
Looks like we'll be here a while.
Well, at least we'll be clean.
Oh, wait a minute. You tickled me.
And we iris out in the heart. We've just finished watching the Fairly OddParents pilot, the very first one ever, and boy, did that bring back memories, I'm telling you. If you guys haven't seen that yet, I hope you enjoyed it. I do think you can see a lot of potential in a cartoon like this. You've got the magic where the kid can wish for anything that he wants. You've got the babysitter who's secretly evil, plotting to kill the kid all the time. You've got the fairies who are magic but don't get it right all the time. And just an infinite number of things they can do. Again, the other thing kids love is to have secrets. Timmy's got a secret from his parents. And so I think that really showed a lot of potential. Again, I would do so many things differently, starting with the character design. I'd refine the design. Easy to say now 20 years later watching it, but I would really refine the designs a lot more. I'd really refine those backgrounds, and you can see as the show goes on, Fairly OddParents, you can see how we refined the designs. The show became really slick, really great looking. I think it's one of the best looking shows out there, if I do say so myself. You might disagree. What do you think in the comment section down below? Now let me know if you like this pilot. I want to see you guys watch the whole thing. Let me know if you liked it, if you can see potential in the pilot. That's what it's for. Can you see potential in a pilot? Can you see potential in what you're doing? Like, what are you guys doing? Are you doing something that has the potential to be really successful? Is there a great idea behind it? Is there a great set of characters behind it? Because you can see these characters are really funny. Okay, so what score am I going to give the Fairly OddParents pilot on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being best. Is it 1 star or 5 stars? I would probably give the Fairly OddParents, as a short, the way it looks, the way it is now, entertainment value for today's audience, I'd probably give it about a 3 because it can move faster. I think the jokes could be funnier, obviously. I think it could look a lot better. I'd probably give it a 5 for potential though, because the potential there, and we all know what the potential became. I'd give it a 5 for potential because it is so full of rich story ingredients, and that's where you really have to look at a cartoon. So if you want to send me a link to your cartoon, let me review it here in the channel. Send a link to askbutchhartman@gmail.com, and we just might review your cartoon here on the channel. If you're an animator, you want to get some honest opinions, let us know. We'll give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, okay? Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. I had a great time watching this. I'm going to watch some more of my old cartoons, and that'll be a lot of fun. So thanks so much. Let me know what other cartoons you want to see me review. If it's one of yours or even one of mine, let me know. Alright guys, thanks again, and don't forget, especially on this episode, art gives you power. Use it wisely. Hey Heart fans, subscribe here to keep up with me, Danny, Timmy, Dudley, Bunsen, and the NOOG Network, my new app full of cartoons, shows, and games. Download it here. Click over here to watch my most recent video, and here to start a playlist related to this video. Whoa, check out that awesome fan art. To be featured here, use hashtag HeartFanArt and tag me. I'm on every social media platform known to man. Cartoon Butch out. Pencil drop.